Hey everybody, it's Brian and welcome to Chiller Night Live. I see Renee is the first comment of the night. Renee says, "Hello Bryan Hogue, happy Terror Taco Tuesday. Hope you had an awesome day at work and hope your escape room enthusiast customers enjoyed. Had a blast and bought a lot of your merch and gear at both mall locations." Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Renee. Good to hear from you. And there's my baby Ava giving me a heart. So right back at you. So, yep, Renee says first. Yes, you definitely are. Let's see. Bonehead says, "Hey, hello, Chiller Night crew and Brian." Hey, Bonehead, thanks for joining us. D says, "Good evening, everyone." Good evening, D. Thanks for joining us. Renee says, "Now that's like me. I am back to form." Yes, we missed that. All right. Ava says, "Darn, I thought I was." No, you got to be a little quicker. Maybe next week. Renee says, "Woohoo, I am number one." You got it. You got it before I did. I was hitting good evening, my weekly opening comment, and you got in quicker than that. So, well, if you are new here, you know what? I have the close cam again. I just didn't change it. Didn't really have time to mess with it before the show. So you're getting this view again tonight, by golly. But maybe we'll go back to the other. I'm sure we will. It's just something that's, I have my heart set on. But yes, if you are new here and you're watching this, from 8 p.m. Eastern Time until 9 o'clock, we just sit and chat about all things horror, science fiction, paranormal, movies within those genres, games, collectibles, anything, basically. Throw a topic my way. We'll make a show out of it. So Jason says, "Good evening, Brian and my fellow Chiller Nighters." Hey, Jason, thanks for joining us. Al says, "Hi, everyone. It's Chiller Night." It is Chiller Night. All right, Renee is still celebrating being number one comment of the night. John says, "And now it's that time again for Hour of the Week, and we are all looking forward to. This is Crozak the Grand, and it's time again for Chiller Night. And here's our host and star, Bryan Hogue." Well, thank you, Crozak the Grand, for your most gracious intros. Always appreciated. Momo, LOL, Ava says, "Oh, that's right, we were watching some movie called Momo." What was that on? Was that on Netflix? Or maybe it was Amazon Prime. It was some movie that was kind of done in the done up kind of like the Legend of Boggy Creek, made to look like an old early 70s, like from 1975, I think. I know Legend by Creek was what, 72 or 74. This one was supposed to have footage from, I think, from 75. It was like a Bigfoot movie. Renee says, "The Mandalorian versus Boba Fett." That'd be an interesting battle. However, they are friends, though. They fight side by side, so I don't know if we would get to see that fight. It would be an interesting one. Bonehead says, "Although I don't know. Boba Fett looks a little, he looks pretty good in some scenes. It looks a little rusty in others. So I suppose maybe time in the Sarlacc pit maybe got to him a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. No, I think he's doing all right." Bonehead says, "Miss Renee Cruz, first on the chat and the fastest emoji texture online today." You got that right. Ava says, "Peacock." That's right. It was on Peacock. Yeah, Momo. It had like an additional name to the title, but oh gosh, that was a weird one. We started it. We didn't finish that one, but I think we got about an hour into it so far. Bonehead says, "I'm really glad Miss Renee is feeling better and back to being our fastest gun." Yes. Oh my gosh! Look at the emojis now. She just sent. I don't know how she does that, but there's just a plethora, an onslaught of emojis there. Oh, you name it, it's there. Ghosts, dinosaurs, aliens, UFOs, robots. Even the Vulcan live long and prosper hand thing. Let's see. Rocket ships. Dogs and cats living together. Let's see. Renee says Netflix costs $6.99 a month. We have that. Yeah, I didn't know what it was, but yeah, we do have Netflix. Trying to think if there was anything. Anybody know of anything? You know, Ava and I were just talking about that on the way back home. We just got home, and I just had a few minutes to get this prepared. But anybody see anything recently worth mentioning on here that maybe some others might want to look up? John Wayne says, hello, everyone. It's hard to believe it's Tuesday again. Why, yes, it is. It is, here she goes, bonuses with the emojis, yeah. Ava says, say what ours is 15 something a month. Oh, is that right? For Netflix. I don't know what it is, because... Is it really 15 something a month for Netflix? Wow. I got it because what did we have on there? Oh yeah, Cobra Kai, the last season's coming up. I mean, we've had Netflix for a while. It wasn't just for that, but I mean, but I do want to keep it. John says, FYI, if this Momo is the movie that I'm thinking about, one of the cast in the movie is Janet J. Harmon, and she is the co-host of The Mummy and the Monkey. It is. Yes, she is. I know. She was in the opening scene with the two ladies that were driving in the Volkswagen. The Mummy and the Monkey's Harry Scary Hangout, which plays live every Friday night on YouTube. Yes, that is her. That's the one. Renee says, didn't see Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire yet. Ah, okay, that's kind of a big one out now, isn't it? Ava and I went to the movies the first time since, when was it, Ava? I think the last time was the last Jedi. That's how long ago we've been to the movies. Well, I mean, last summer we went to The Sound of Freedom, and then this time we went and saw Civil War at the theater. So, man, I haven't been to a theater in so long. Years, I say. Hey, OSBC. Bonet says, Jawa? Is it? John Wayne says, do we have a topic today? We didn't have a predetermined topic for today. No, we're just going to wing this. And Jason says, Alien was great in the theaters recently. And the Star Wars marathon on May 3rd was nice to see. Late Night with the Devil was very good. Ah, okay. We almost picked that one the other night. The Late Night with the Devil. I saw that my brother... I think my brother and his wife were watching that, or they posted something about that on Facebook. So Ava says she can't remember. Oh, the price of Netflix. Yeah, I don't know. Bonus says, yep, SBC, our topic today is what's going to be the topic for today. Yeah, that sounds like a good topic. Daniel says, hello, Brian. Gemma and I are watching you, and Gemma is asking if you did any work in your haunt. No, I'm not doing any work in the haunt just yet. It is coming up very, very soon. But I'm actually working on the witching hour, finishing that up. In fact, I took some days. I'm going to be taking some days next week off from my regular job and go work on that and finish it up next week. So, and then probably beginning of June, we'll start modifying Jack Shadow's House of Terror. Some people say I sound just like him when I try. But yeah, it'll be soon, Gemma. It'll be soon. Renee says, I have Tubi, Plex, Pluto, TV, Freevee, and a couple of others, and they play sucky movies I've never heard of, so low budget, but their old TV comedy shows are good. Oh, okay, yeah. I see a lot of those old, as you say, sucky movies. Those old some of those horror movies. I started noticing a rash of those in like the mid 2000s, and at that time you were still going to rent a movie. And it was getting so frustrating because like I'd go and I'd see a pretty decent looking cover, and I was like, oh, I don't know what this movie is, but it looks interesting enough. Maybe let's say maybe it's got a killer clown on it or something. Yeah, sure, I'll take that home. You rent it, you take it home, and then you put it in, and you see where it looks like somebody just anybody with a video camera, and they got their friends, and they're making an independent movie, and I just spent my money renting it. And that got so frustrating. And I'd order movies off of Amazon and stuff. Again, I'm just looking for different horror movies, and I'd see that type of, the cover and the synopsis. And I thought, oh, okay. And then you get it, and again, it's something that it almost looks like kids with a video camera made. It's just, yeah. And now you do see those pop up on these streaming channels. Oh, for everybody, trying their best and expressing themselves in film and all that, go knock yourself out. But I was just getting tired of paying for it, when I was expecting to see something good that required talent. Bonin says, Jar Wall, Brian was a greeting them Nazis used to use. Don't remember if it was a command or a greeting. What? Okay. John Wayne says, any new UFO sightings worth mentioning? UFO sightings? Scary movies? All right. Throw it my way. Throw it in the chat. The chat message board here. Dave Davis says, hey, DJ Dave, how's it going tonight? Hope all is well. Bonin says, well, I ain't familiar with Dutchland, SBC. I'm sorry, over here in the States, thank God. Yeah. Renee says, exactly, Bryan Hogue. Sucky homemade movies awful. Yeah, there've got to be so many of those. And Ava and I we'll go on Amazon or Netflix or something, and we'll pick out a movie, because we always like to try to watch a horror movie on the Saturday night or something, and start watching it and realize, oh, this was made for like $300, and it has no actors in it, just the guy filming it and his friends, I'm sure. But it just got frustrating because that was happening an awful lot. But it says, one of the few German words I remember from the war movies I've watched. Oh, yeah? I'm not familiar with it. I know only a couple words in German. And that's just from reading comic books when I was growing up, like Captain America versus the Red Skull or something. John Wayne says, Bonehead, I would love to be in the USA right now. Yes. Well, now that we're here, whether you're in Germany or the United States or anywhere else, pick a topic, pick a movie. DJ Dave says, not bad, kind of beat, had a lot going on today out in the wood shop, but all is good. Yeah, I see your crafts and all the stuff that you're making there. You do a good job. Tom says, Schweinhound. What? Hey, Tom, thanks for joining us. I have no idea if I said that right. Renee says, yes, tons of UFO sightings, encounters, incidents on third phase of moon, secure team 10, etc. Just check out my sub list. I am in the UFO world community. I'm a ufologist. Ah, okay. You're always welcome to, post your, a link to your stuff there, Renee, if you'd like. In fact, anybody is. If you're part of a group or anything like that, and you think it might be interesting to the viewers, go ahead. The only thing I would have to think about is if you're posting for other horror hosts. No, I don't care. Or do I? Bonin says, anyways, is the topic UFOs, or is it just anything else freeform that comes to mind? If it's interesting enough, we'll talk about it. How's that? How's that for an answer? I don't know. DJ Dave says, build a gun cabinet today. LOL. It's done. Ah, cool. Gun cabinet. Nice. Just as long as the topics aren't politics or religion. I think there's other formats and other things you can go to talk about those topics there. Nobody wants to come here and talk about that. Yes, you're just inundated with that stuff all week long. We'll give everybody a break, a nice rest. Whatever side of the aisle you may happen to be, we all meet collectively in the middle here and talk about horror, science fiction, paranormal, stuff like that. And occasionally, though, we have, you guys know, we will stray off into westerns or wrestling or, something, as long as everyone's interested. And we'll make sure to keep it, keep it interesting anyways. There is no, there's not really any set format on it. The show started out, obviously, for those who have been with us for a while, as a pre-show. This show was on Saturday nights at 8 p.m., and it was on the hour prior to the shows coming on Stream TV, which I will mention are still playing. Stream TV still plays Chiller Night Theater every Saturday night, beginning at 9 o'clock. And now, I believe they're playing, the last couple of weeks they've been playing 3 movies. So, I mean, if you're wanting to watch Chiller Night Theater, Jack Shadow and the show, Saturday night, every Saturday night on Stream TV. Let me put the website up there. It's streammedia.tv right here. I don't know where to put that. I'll put it right there for now. How's that sound? All right, streammedia.tv for those of you who don't know. Bonus says, Tom, I don't know what that German word means either. Is that a cuss word? Are you greeting me? Did you make me say a bad word, Tom? John says, how about good movies made on a tiny budget? Well, right offhand, I'd have to say Night of the Living Dead. That's my first. That's my first. Second would be the Blair Witch Project. There are mixed opinions on that. I very much enjoyed that one. Brian Ivor says, hello. Hey, Brian, thanks for joining us. Tom says, Bone, it's German for pig dog, I think. Okay. Renee says, Bryan Hogue wore a suit and mustache during the earlier live days. I did. I had a little facial hair there, and I had a tuxedo, much in the same vein as Bill Chilly Billy Cardell. That was my homage to Chilly Billy. Standing in as custodian of the castle, of Castle Shadow. I'm not opposed to doing that again. It's just that, right now is just kind of a busy time for me. But I know eventually, at some point, things are going to taper down and taper off, or whatever you want to call it, and I would be able to do the show again. I'm not saying I 100% will, but I would. That would at least be more of a realistic option at that point, where right now it's not. But it said, food is always a good topic. I'm a filthy hog, and food just always seems to come up in the conversation with me. Tom, get your mind out of the gutter. Renee says, yep, I did enjoy Blair Witch for a rental. Yeah, I saw that when it first became available to rent. I didn't see it in the theater. I didn't see that one in the theater, so I don't think I did. But I did see it very shortly after it did come out. It was still new. Bonin says, Tom, I know the Marines were called devil dogs by the Germans in World War I. That's how we got that nickname. The devil dogs. Huh. That's right. That is right. Well, as we sit and pause for a moment, for un momento, let's see. Let's see if this works. You ready?
Chiller Night Escape Experience presents Zombie Outbreak Escape Room. You and your team of scientists are sent to inspect a top-secret laboratory in a hidden military bunker. Sinister experiments have resulted in reanimating the dead. The facility is now swarming with the living dead, and you have 1 hour to escape or be overrun by zombies. Can you survive a zombie outbreak? Book your escape room appointment to find out. Book online at chillernight.com or call 814-209-8214. Gift certificates available at the store counter.
That's right, Zombie Outbreak. Stephanie says, hey, y'all, sorry I'm late. I was at the book club. What did I miss? We're just chatting about stuff we've seen online recently, old horror movies. We're still throwing topics around. But I tell you what, I'm really closing in on the Witching Hour. I should be done with that by next week. That doesn't mean it's open to the public yet. Once I'm done with it, I got to run some test groups through, and then of course I have to inspect it, have it inspected through the state 15 days prior to opening to the public. So I'm trying to get as much as I can done this month, and I should be done with that by next week. So you saw, of course, the ad there for Zombie Outbreak. Wish to book that, you can do that at 814-209-8214, or you can go online at chillernight.com. Right now I only have booking available on the weekends because I am building, once again, the Witching Hour. Still working on that. And don't forget, Jack Shadow's House of Terror Haunted House. It'll be here before you know it, I'll tell you. As weird as that sounds. As weird as that sounds, that's coming up. There's the entrance to it. I just think that looks so cool. All right. So, anyways, that's what's going on there. Your commercial, Jason says, your commercial's AI voice sounds like Tony Todd. Oh, yeah, Tony Todd. I hadn't thought of that. I thought of like maybe, yeah, I guess so. I can kind of hear that now that you say it. I was thinking like Rod Serling, and I didn't even think of that. I think Tom mentioned that. I thought, okay, I can hear that. But I guess I can kind of hear Tony Todd too. Al says, I saw Blair Witch in the theater, I think on opening weekend. Oh yeah? See, I like that one. Oh, we were talking about, Stephanie, one of the topics, one of the more recent ones was low budget horror movies. I guess you could throw sci-fi in there as well. Just anything kind of under the chiller mantle. Tom says, though technically not a horror movie, but John Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13 is probably my favorite low budget. All right, that's cool. Very cool. Anybody else? Like mine were my go-to right off the bat was Night of the Living Dead. George Romero's, of course. I was gonna say modern classic. To me, that's still. Guess it's been around for a little bit, but cult classic. I can say cult classic. It definitely has its own audience. Let's see. Jason says, Dog Day Afternoon, another good dog movie. All right, I've not seen that one. John Wayne says, The Trouble with the Bureaucracy. Bonin says, and The Corn Dogs leads me to Dog Soldiers, the best werewolf movie I've ever seen. Believe it or not. And I've seen Dog Soldiers. I've heard about it. But I've actually never seen Dog Soldiers. So, but just like what you've wrote there, I've heard nothing but good things about it. So, and I'm kind of surprised I haven't seen that one yet because I love werewolf movies if they're done right. Jason says, I saw Blair Witch 2 in the theaters. Cool. That just reminds me of you saying a little bit earlier that you saw Alien in the theaters here recently again, which would be really cool. Renee says Candyman. Oh, well, speaking of Tony Todd, Jason says Paranormal Activity was very low budget. That's right. That's right. And that was a really big one there at the time also. Um, Tony Todd, Ava and I met him in Pittsburgh at one of the horror realms. Pretty nice guy. Al says The Evil Dead was shot on the cheap. Evil Dead, there you go. Jason says Halloween, John Carpenter, very low budget. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of these you don't think, there's such big names. You forget that they were done on a shoestring budget. John Wayne says Blair Witch is so cheap, but that's kind of inspiring. Yeah. Yeah, they were the first to really, at least the first real notable ones to do it in that documentary form, I'm not going to say they were the first, but after they came out, oh boy, everybody started doing them that way. Oh, there was such an onslaught of movies done in that point of view, the point of view camera, telling your story through that. Even one of the zombie movies, there was a zombie movie that came out like that shortly, not too long after that. Cujo, Renee says. Oh, doggy movies, Cujo. Dog Soldiers, very good, Jason said. Stephanie says, I've seen New Year's Evil on FearNet one time. New Year's Evil. Don't know. I can't tell you if I've seen that one. Renee says, Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. That's another one. I don't know if I can say that I've seen that one. I don't know. I think there's a newer one that just came out on Netflix for Pet Cemetery. If that's the new one, I can definitely say I've not seen it. So, Diary of the Dead, Jason says, found footage, George Romero. Yeah, okay. That sounds familiar. It was a George Romero movie. That's right. Yeah. Kevin says, good evening. Hey, Kevin, thanks for joining us. Right now we're talking about low budget horror movies. Some of the more notable ones, some of your favorites. We've had Night of the Living Dead, The Blair Witch Project. We've had Halloween, the original Halloween. The Evil Dead, Paranormal Activity. Yeah. So just to name a few. Diary of the Dead, Jason says. I do remember seeing that. And Tom says, and of course, there's anything that John Waters made probably for less than $1,000. Yeah. Renee says, Milo and Otis. What? Milo and Otis. All right, so any more? How about sci-fi movies? Any unless some are mentioned but any science fiction movies like on the cheap? And the reason why that I think would be a little, maybe it's not as, I don't know, prevalent as the horror movies, because you actually have to have, I would imagine, sets, special effects to some degree for a sci-fi movie. The Creeping Terror. Yes, there you go, Brian. That was quick too. The Creeping Terror. He came right in with that one. John Wayne says, I haven't seen a new film for a long time. I definitely have to go to the cinema again. Yeah. We have, like I said, when I opened up with Ava and I just went to the movies last Thursday night and saw Civil War. That was the first time I had been in a theater, in quite a while. And a buddy of mine, Dave Martin, who was actually one of the zombies in Night of the Living Dead, he went and he told me about it. He said he was telling me about the theater. You can actually like recline like really far back, put your feet up in these chairs. Like, to me, that's pretty deluxe. I've never seen such a thing, but yeah, we got to experience that. Gutterballs, horribly bad and cheap movie, Jason says. Renee says the Saw franchise, very low budget, just a puppet talking. I saw maybe the first two. I don't think I saw any more than that. Um, Plan 9 from Outer Space was cheaply made, Jason says. Oh my gosh, of course. Of course. I guess we could throw anything from Ed Wood in there. Creeping Terror, excellent B movie, Jason says. Tom says George Lucas's THX 1138. That's true. Yeah. What, Robert Duvall? If I'm remembering that right. Robert Duvall, that was like one of his first. Right, when George Lucas made that one? I think he made that right before he did American Graffiti. Am I right about that? I think he made that one first. I think I'm remembering that right. Jason says, Ega, very cheaply made. Ega, right? As well as Paul's favorite movie, Manos. That's right. Paul let me know he couldn't be here tonight, and he wanted me to tell everybody hi, of course, and he wishes he could join us. So he'll be probably get a kick out of seeing that his favorite movie, Manos, was mentioned here tonight. Bonin says, I don't even want to draw attention to a low-budget movie that we all know and most of us hate, except for a couple of dedicated characters here in the Chiller Night crew. I think it's too late for that, Bonehead. I think it's too late. Renee says, the Purge franchise. Very low budget, same premise. Killer everybody every year. I don't know, were those low budget? Those were well done. I mean, if they were low budget, that's pretty cool. Tom says it sure is a great one, Bone. Gotta smoke. With Assault on Precinct 13. Renee said John Carpenter's Dark Star, low budget. You know which one I like? And I don't think it was. I wouldn't imagine it was a high budget movie. Was Prince of Darkness. It didn't come across as looking cheap or nothing, but it was just that made me think of it when you guys are mentioning John Carpenter. I really enjoy that movie. It's a really creepy movie. Tom says Lucas might still have been at USC when he made that. Yeah, I think he was a film student at the time, so that I believe you're right. Stephanie says, does anybody have cable? Because I had a sci-fi movie marathon on Turner Classic Movies channel. Oh yeah? You had a sci-fi movie marathon? Any movies that you can remember worth mentioning? Renee says, that's kind of fun though, the kind of binge watch through a marathon like that. Renee says, Hardware Wars was very, very cheap budget, yeah. Bonus says, damn if I didn't figure that SBC or Paul or both of them would name that torture test. I mean, movies, yeah, I know. Exactly. Well, they got mentioned. We knew that was coming, though. We knew that was coming. What else is there? That's, like I said, Paranormal Activity. That actually was that's kind of a big one as far as like reasonably recent, because that was such a big successful movie for such a low budget, and I liked everything about it. The end, the very very end of it. Should I say spoiler for something that came out like almost 20 years ago? But the very very end of it, I thought that just turned it turned, that looked Hollywood, but the rest of the movie looked. I was so I don't know, that last scene just kind of took me out of it. But it was a good movie. It was enjoyable, and I didn't really follow the other ones with much interest, to be honest with you. Jason says Planet of the Vampires, cheap. TCM's used to play used used to be a great place to catch some really good 50s and 60s monster horror movies. Joe Bob Briggs was on TBS. Yeah. Yep. He's been around for a while. Basket Case, John Wayne says. Hardware Wars, excellent film, Jason says. The Grove Tube, low budget. The Grove Tube. I've never heard of that, Renee. Or Renee says that. Stephanie says, The Green Slime, The Thing from Another World. Moon 02, and oh, good Lord, there was a lot. I bet so. I bet so. Green Slime, The Thing from Another World. All right, that sounds fun, though. You just kind of got to get in the mood, and those are a lot of fun to watch. Jason says, Hell House, LLC. Really good and cheaply made. The sequels aren't that great. Yes, yeah. You ever wonder, like, what was... I don't always be afraid to ask, like, what was it? Wait, what was the budget on The Last Man on Earth, Vincent Price? I wonder if it would tell me. All right, we'll see. Oh, speaking of low-budget movies, Roger Corman has an onslaught of them. I wonder if, just to get an idea here, I don't see a budget listed here. And I'm not going to scour over the internet. I'm on Wikipedia. So, I don't know, just to kind of give me an idea. Production? Would it say under production? Nope, it doesn't. I just thought it was worth a look-see. A Boy and His Doggy, Crockett Dude from Miami Vice. I do remember that one. That was a weird movie. Wasn't he talking to his dog? Wasn't he? Do I remember? Am I remembering that right, or was I having a strange experience watching that movie? Renee says The Groove Tube. Jason says Green Slime, one of the best 60s musical themes for sci-fi. Bonus says, Manos honestly makes Plan 9 look like an Oscar winner, and truthfully, Plan 9 from Outer Space was a much better, more interesting movie than Manor. I mean, oops, I meant Manos. Yeah. Plan 9 from Outer Space, the idea of it, and I've heard this said, and I tend to agree with it, the idea of it, if it were done right, could actually be a pretty frightening concept. If you could imagine, if you kind of take yourself out of the idea that you're watching a movie and imagine the scenario of alien beings resurrecting the dead. I don't know if you'd want to go in the route of like the Walking Dead kind of zombies, or just more of the white zombie type of zombies, where they're kind of doing the bidding of the aliens and more of their servants, They're dastardly henchmen and women. John Wayne says, what was the name of the movie again with the man in the house with that ghost of this child? I think it was from Canada. What was the name of the movie again with the man in the house with that ghost of his child? I think it was from Canada. Oh boy, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Does anybody know which one SBC is referring to? Tom says Moon 02 is online for or one of the few or only sci-fi films made by Hammer Films. Is that right? I did not realize that. That's cool. That's neat information. I learn a lot from this show. I don't know this stuff. Not all of it. Renee says, yeah, the doggy was talking in his head. Okay, all right, then I was right. I was remembering that right. Gosh, that was a long time ago I saw that one. But it says, The Changeling with George C. Scott. SBC. The Changeling. Oh, is that it? I see a couple people asking. Exactly that one, Bonehead, SBC says. Okay. Stephanie says, "Oh, I almost forgot. I also saw Planet 9 from Outer Space, Plan 9 from Outer Space on the marathon that day, which was on May 1st. Sorry, I forgot to mention when that happened." Oh, okay. All right. Pretty recent. Pretty recent. Wow. All right. Anything else? And I will ask you this: have there been any other movies that were done from the point of view, like the Blair Witch Project, Diary of the Dead, that you did enjoy? I have to say, was Paranormal Activity done in that way? I'm kind of thinking it. Oh, they had the cameras. You were watching the footage from the various viewpoints of the cameras mounted up in the house. Okay, well, we'll throw that one in there as well. That was pretty well done. Um, Cloverfield. I thought that was a pretty neat one. I remember going to the theater to see that one. I enjoyed that one. Speaking of sci-fi, Stephanie says, "Oh, I almost forgot. Oh, I read that one." But it says, "Well, SBC, that just proves that even a busted clock can be right at least twice a day." Right. So, yeah. What are some of the ones that you did enjoy with the point of view movies? Any of them stand out? Like I say, I'll give credit where credit's due. I did like the Blair Witch. I guess we can kind of somewhat sort of throw Paranormal Activity in there. The first one, I'm talking about the first one. And Cloverfield, I did like that one. I can't think of any other ones beyond that I really gravitate toward, or worth mentioning. But how about you guys? Jason says Paranormal did have a little handheld POV shots. That's right. They mixed it in with the residential cameras. Now that I forgot about that. Okay. Amanda says, "Good evening. Good evening, Amanda. Thanks for joining us. We are talking about low budget movies tonight. That seems to be the topic that's kind of in the forefront of our minds as we chat here, do some chiller chatting. And right now we're on the topic of, well, we can mix it up however we want, but kind of the point of view shot movies like the Blair Witch Project, Cloverfield, Paranormal Activity. But we don't have to stay on that topic, obviously, but that's just something, that's one of the things that we're discussing. Low budget movies, anything that stands out. Renee says, George C. Scott was awesome and intense in that 1979 movie Hardcore. Jason says, Bigfoot, The Lost Tapes, good handheld movie. Oh, yeah? I don't think I saw that one. I think I've seen it as I'm scrolling through, trying to select a movie. But Stephanie says, the latest Blair Witch scared the Dickinson out of me. Is that right? I'm trying to think of which one that would have been. Is that the one where, like, you actually see the witch or whatever this creature is, like, kind of like walking on the ceiling and the wall, like some kind of, almost like some kind of demonic insect or something? That was kind of weird, if that's the one. Renee says, The Claw, B movie, low budget. The Claw, yeah. The giant claw, is that the one? Remember that one? The giant claw, if that's the one you're talking about, was the one where they overall, and I remember talking about this when I was hosting it, when I was standing in for Jack Shadow as a ghost host. That the rest of the movie wasn't bad. I mean, comparatively with the movies that you were seeing put out at that time. However, the monster, the big monster of the movie monster itself, was a marionette that I think they had made for like $60 from some company in Mexico. That at the last minute they had this guy throw it together, and that was the movie monster. And I just remember the main star of the movie. He was in the theater for the grand opening of the movie, The Giant Claw. and he got up, walked out because he was so embarrassed because everyone was laughing every time this monster would come on screen. And he went home and he began to drink, and drink quite a bit. He did, apparently. So that's too bad. You shouldn't be cutting corners, especially when it comes to the main monster of your movie. Jason says Halloween Resurrection, horrible attempt to ape the POV genre. Halloween Resurrection. Was that H2O? Was that the one they called H2O, the 20-year one, and the whole? I don't know. Is that? Am I right on that one? I saw that one and I was very underwhelmed. I'll say that because it came right after Part 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, and then they went to H2O, and I was very disappointed because I was kind of into the story of Part 6. I wanted to see what was going to happen. I thought, they're kind of developing a neat little story here. Connecting some dots they were, and then they went to H2O. Plan 9 from outer space, low budget. Renee says, yep. Let's see. Stephanie says the creature from Blair Witch had one big, and the one from Wreck. Oh, the REC. Okay, yeah, I remember watching that, but I don't. I gotta say, I don't remember what the creature looked like. Jason says the hand, Michael Caine. An artist loses his hand, which is possessed. Good schlock horror. Renee says animatronic claw. He he he. Renee says, and everyone laughed at him. Yeah, he wasn't having a good night at all. Can you imagine? That is a shame because it wasn't like I say, compare it with any other movie that came out at the time. It really wasn't any worse than anything else coming out. It was but by those standards, it was a decent enough movie, except when you saw the giant claw. But it says the giant claw, great movie from the 50s, horribly done monster. That bird was a cross between a deadite and the Cocoa Puffs bird. Ah, okay. The Cocoa Puffs bird, yeah, that gave me an instant visual. Patty says, hey, Patsylvan won Sneak In Pie, The Cube, Niscaravation, Top of the Food Chain, Breakfast of Aliens, are some I know. Sneak Out. Oh, okay. Well, Patty, thanks for sneaking in and sneaking out, and at least getting to spend a minute or two of your time here with us. Jason says Resurrection was the sequel to H2O. Oh, okay. I remember H2O was like they were setting up cameras and revisiting the house, so I didn't know if that's what you meant by the of course, that would have been before the Blair Witch Project. The H2O, anyways. Resurrection was probably, I'm guessing, after the Blair Witch, after the massive success from that. Everyone was jumping on that train there. John Wayne says, the giant claw, I saw this movie here for the first time. All right. Awesome. I like Michael Myers, Bonet says, but really, they really should have called a Halloween movie Resuscitation. It would fit, I believe. Yeah. Al says, I love the giant claw. Renee says, Ed Wood, low budget. Not claw. John says. Okay. We've seen some good ones. I like, who mentioned it? Was it Bryan earlier? The Creeping Terror. That was another one. That just, I don't know. I was thinking of the giant claw here, and that made me think of Bryan mentioning the Creeping Terror. We had some neat ones on here, I thought. For Chiller Night Theater that we played. And maybe we will again. I know Brad, when he gets on here, he mentioned some of the heavies coming up in the public domain within the years to come. Frankenstein, Dracula, The Mummy, King Kong. That would be fantastic, and it will be. But yeah, we've had some interesting movies over the year. Bonus says the creeping carpet is more like it. Yeah, creeping carpet. And I remember mentioning this while hosting that movie about the documentary. There's a documentary on it, and I forget what streaming channel was it. Tubi maybe. I don't know. I couldn't remember if I tried, but there is a documentary. I'm trying to remember the name of it, which probably isn't helping. But if you just, I don't know, Google documentary on the creeping terror, it's interesting because it does tell the story of the behind the scenes stuff that went on with that movie, about the director that used an anonymous or alias name. He ripped everybody off. He wasn't paying anybody, and then he took off before the movie was released because he he owed everybody money. Nobody got paid, and it was just horrible. I mean, and there were a lot of shady people, obviously, in the industry at the time. But this guy, he was just particularly sleazy. So there's nothing redeemable about him at all if you watch that documentary. But I would imagine there was so much of that going on back then. Just everybody pushing out these movies. Renee says, I saw Giant Claw on Creature Features with Bob Wilkins. Good times. Cool. Brennan says, Tubi has the Twonky? Say that 3 times fast. Tom says, that was a weird story behind that movie. Yeah, it was. Yep. Jason says, the creep behind the camera. Oh! Is that it? Is that the name of it? That's totally appropriate if that's what it is. Like, that's so true. That guy was horrible. But it says, don't know if that's anything to brag about, but I threw it out there. Okay, I don't know what that movie is, but if Laser Corner, hey, there's Laser. Thanks for joining us. We've been missing you. Peeps, sorry I'm late, he says. Not a problem. We're happy that you got to join us here, at least for the last several minutes. Yeah, we've just been talking about low-budget movies. Seem to be the topic of the night. Various low-budget movies, point-of-view movies, like, handheld cameras, like the Blair Witch Project, that type of thing. So many of them. Bonuses brings to mind the AIP movies from the 50s. They put them out there. Yeah, they were really cranking them out. Jason says the creep behind the camera was the name of the documentary. Oh, the creep behind the camera. All right, there you have it. Go and if you're looking for something interesting to watch. Kind of gives a little insight as to not just that movie, but kind of the mindset of a lot of those guys back then who were just cranking that stuff out. Not all of them. There was some some professional people who were trying their best with what they had to work with. But that's a really interesting documentary to watch. A bonus is the Twonky. It's about a killer TV. Okay, I'll take your word for it. I've never heard of this movie. The Twonky. It's on Tubi. The Twonky's on Tubi. All right. Laser says, hey, we made it through April. We did. I knew we would do it. I knew it, Laser. We got through it. Laser Corn says, feeling the love. Well, we're happy that you can make it. Yeah, we did make it through April, and now we're in May, and that gets my that just starts. I can feel my heart just plummeting, like below my stomach there when I think that it's May already, because I mean on the the haunt stuff, escape room and haunt stuff, It's like last May 31st of last year is when I actually started building the House of Terror. I don't have to build the whole thing again, but there is a lot that I have to do to modify it so it's not the same as last year. And part of that is rearranging the entire back half of the haunt. So it's going to be a lot of work, and I wish I could just say, oh, just a couple days I'll have that all. No, it won't be. It'll be months, I'm sure. So, but I am planning on getting the witching hour done by next week. As far as done, completed, and then there's some things that go along with that, the inspection, the test groups, and that type of thing before I can open it to the public. But that is coming along. Renee says that's like Unsealed. Alien Filed and Unsealed Conspiracy Files television show series on Tubi. They didn't pay all of the ufologists on the show, but it turned out to be an excellent UFO documentary series. What is it with these people who don't pay the talent? John Wayne says, what was the name of the 80s movie with the killer refrigerator? You got me there. I have no idea. Bonus says, I actually watched movies about a killer TV, a bed, a chair, and a car tire. Okay. I didn't know they made that many movies about killer objects like that. Renee says, wow, a killer TV. Jason says, Brian, thank you so much for the highlight of my week. Oh, that's cool. Thank you, Jason. We all love this, and we are also happy you decided to continue doing this. Thanks again. Oh, you're very welcome. And like I said, I just had somebody mention right on Facebook today about they missed Jack Shadow. And, you know, I miss the guy. I know he's excited about Jack Shadow's House of Terror coming up this year. And, you know, maybe, you know, if the conditions are right, we can relaunch the show with Jack hosting again. That would be cool. I'm not opposed to it. I know at this time is not possible, but I do appreciate that because this at least we can do. So we can keep up with this for now. Kind of keep Chiller Night afloat on the video side of things. Anyways, let's see. Renee, Laser says, Renee, I've been listening to old Art Bell episodes from the 90s. Ah, cool. I love it, but it's just making me sad at the same time. I guess it would. The nostalgia, and old Art no longer being with us. John Wayne says, what's the name of the movie with the killer refrigerator? Yeah. What would that be? I hope it has something with chiller in the name, because it's a refrigerator. Renee says the VHS tape was eaten by the dude's stomach that had mouth and teeth, I think. All right. Renee says James Woods. Bonus says, here, I concur with your observation, Mr. Jason Bates. Well, thank you. Bonus says, who's Jack Shadow? What? Oh, how soon you forget. Blasphemy. Renee says, yeah, Later Corn, I got it. I got a Coast to Coast live ping from George Norrie, but I'd rather be here right now. Ah, thank you, Renee. AM radio. Bonus says, Brian, remember how you overstressed yourself before doing Jack Shadow? If you forgot, jab a fork into your leg a couple times. I'm sure it'll bring it back. It'll bring back memories. Yeah. Oh, no, I do. That's what keeps me. Oh, Jason says Videodrome. Is that the killer TV one? Jason, or Laser says, we'll take you over, George, any day of the week and twice on Sunday, Renee. That's right. We're so happy you chose to be with us. See you all next week, Tom says. And it is 9 o'clock. So, wow, this is another, where does the time go? So, thank you guys for joining me and each other for another episode of Chiller Night Live. And we will, well, have a good night. Have a good chiller night. And we will see you next week. All right. See ya.